Hello and welcome to the Run LITD demo video. I'm Hannah with Lightning Labs, and in this video, we're going to set up a brand new Lightning node, this time using LITD. So if you're not already familiar, we're not going to go into it because that's not what this video is about, but I'll direct you to the Lightning Terminal repo. And of course, Lightning Terminal or Lightning Terminal daemon LITD is a really, really awesome tool, and it bundles all kinds of things, LND, loop, pool, Faraday, and of course, Taproot Assets. So if you're not familiar, you definitely want to go check out this repo here. But when we set up a LITD node, we get LND with all kinds of really awesome, helpful tools with that as well. Also want to note that my repo here, Run LITD, takes inspiration from Alex Bosworth's repo, Run LND, and there's a lot of really specific information in the Run LND repo as well if you're looking to do specific things like, say, run a full archival node and you want to, have an external drive that stores the blockchain data. There's good instructions here, lots of also detailed instructions on configuring LND specifically. So definitely want to take a look at that. But in this video, we are focusing here on the Run LITD repo. And so let's dig in and have a look at this. So as mentioned, this is just a bunch of notes and helper scripts for setting up a LITD node quickly and easily and really in a detailed fashion, right? With configuration files and with, systemd.service files, the whole lot. So very quickly, we'll have a look here. We have a set of checklists. So if you want to not run the scripts, but just set these things up by hand, perhaps there's something very specific you're looking to do, you can just go have a look at through these checklists, and it just notes all the various things you want to do when setting up a new LITD node. We can also come here and have a look at these example files. So we have example configuration and systemd files. So hopefully that's very helpful for you. And then today we're going to be focusing here on running these bash scripts. So we can just spin up a new node, pull this repo down, run these bash scripts, and that's going to set up a really nicely configured node for us. Very cool. All right, we have a quick disclaimer. Now, this repo is based off of, my checklist for setting up new nodes. And of course, that's a process that I've used in production many times. But this specific repo is designed for, developers who are testing something and want to spin something up quickly and just get a node up and running and start, configuring things and playing with things. Disclaimer, don't just blindly trust these scripts for your production build. If you're going to build something in production and put real funds on it, know what you're doing, be careful, double check things. You know the drill. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to run through these scripts. It's going to set up this version of Bitcoin, and we're going to go with this version of LITD. These scripts have been tested on Ubuntu 24.04. So if you're running something a little different, it'll probably work, but be careful. A couple notes on server requirements. This is a rough guide. So what the server that I'm using here is just a Linode server, and I think it's a fairly basic Linode server, and this is the resources that I've given this particular server, so I'll know it'll work with at least this. If you really want to fine-tune things, you can probably go a little bit less. Of course, if you want to run a full archival node, you can do a whole heck of a lot more resources as well. All right, and here's just some notes if you want to, add an external data store for full blockchain data. And we also need to note here that these scripts, by default, they're setting up pruned nodes. So if you want to change that setting, look out for a line like this in your configuration files in the script. All right, so these sets of scripts come in basically 3 stages, right? We have one script that we're running just to do server prep, right? That's where we set up a new user and we do some basic security things like disable root login and password login. So that's pretty simple, and we add, our SSH pub keys, etc. Right, then we're going to do a Bitcoin D setup script, and there we have 2 different options, right? There's one script you can run to set everything up from source, right? And then there's another script you can run, which just downloads the binary. And of course, when you download the binary, it does check signatures and all that good stuff for security. But they have sort of a thorough way to do it and a quick way to do it. For this video, we're just going to do it the quick way because this video is not about Bitcoin D, it's about LITD. So we're just going to do this the quick way for this particular video. So whatever it is that you're watching this, please do read through the README very carefully. Things may have changed, but we'll keep the README up to date. All right, now when we get to the LITD setup, so after we've configured our server and we've got Bitcoin D up and running, then we'll install LITD. And there's a number of different scripts we can run here. And again, there's two different methods. There are some scripts you can run if you just want to download a binary. And there's some scripts you can run if you want to go through the full setup from source. In this video, we're going to walk through doing it from source. I think that's just, more thorough and gives us a better understanding of what's actually happening on the server. That may be helpful for you. But don't forget that there's the option to just run the binary script if you're in a hurry, just want to get to it. All right, so we've had a look through that. Now let's go head over to the server and try it. Okay, as I've got a brand new Ubuntu server set up here, and it's the first time I'm logging into it, I am logging in as root. So I'll go ahead and do that. Yep. Awesome, we're in. And the first thing we will do is clone the repo. All right, git clone. Awesome. Let's head in there and have a look at the scripts. Cool. And we're going to run that server setup script. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that it is executable. Awesome. And I'm logged in as the root user right now. So I'm just going to run it like this. And then as you go, you see it'll stop and ask us a couple of questions. So let's try it. All right, so first thing it's doing is setting up a new Ubuntu user, and we need to give that user a sudo password. Enter it twice. Awesome. Okay, now it's asking us to paste in the SSH pub keys that we want to add for this user, right? And remember, it's going to disable root login and password login, so we want to make sure we copy and paste these things well. I have a key here. I am just going to do a quick copy. And I want to note that you can paste in a number of these keys if you'd like. You just want to make sure that each key is on a new line. So I'm going to paste this in here. I'm going to push enter, and then I'm going to do control. And ta-da, our server is configured. So I'm going to log out of this session because I'm logged in as root, and then I'm going to log back in as Ubuntu. Awesome, that worked. Love that. That is so much fun every time. All right, I'm going to move the repo from where it is in our root users home directory to our new Ubuntu users home directory. We did that, but you can see it's still owned by root, so we're going to change that. Awesome. So let's go have a look at the next scripts that we will run. So now we're going to set up Bitcoin D, and we're going to do this the quick way, and we're just going to run the binary setup script. So first thing I'm going to do is make sure that is executable. And it is. So now I am going to run that. And here you got to remember to run these scripts as sudo, right? So you want to make, because we're going to do lots of, things in the back of the machine. We're going to set up systemd files, etc. So we do have to use sudo, but don't worry because the script will make sure that the, different files and directories that we create are have the appropriate owner and permissions on them. So Let's do this and we'll give it a try. Okay, so it has installed Bitcoin D, and you can see that it's, ran a bunch of different checks for security, and it's generated an RPC password connection string. So we need to be sure that we copy this and make sure we have it handy for when we get to our LITD setup phase, because we are going to paste that in there. So do be careful of, the classic copy paste errors. If you run into any connection or any issue with the connection between Bitcoin D and LITD, maybe just, go look through the checklist and regenerate this connection string. And hopefully that'll fix it up. Okay, so we have to confirm that we have correctly backed that up so we can use it in a minute. And then it wants to know if we're running on mainnet and signet. So of course, when you're testing things, do test on a test net. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to run on signet. And ta-da, we have a Bitcoin node up and running. But as always, don't trust, verify. So we'll run my favorite command to see what's going on this machine. Excellent. Bitcoin D is indeed up and running. So let's clear out of that and go back into our repo. And now we will start installing LITD. So we're going to do this the full proper way from source. So we're going to run first. That's first litd underscore setup dash sh. That is what we are going to run first. So we make that executable. Excellent, we're ready. And again, we run this as sudo. And let's give it a try. So this installs LITD from source. So this first script downloads all the various things that we need and installs that. So Go, Node.js, and Yarn. So we're going to let this run, and then we will double check that everything happened correctly. Awesome, that was quick and easy. And because of how, especially setting up that Go path, how that stuff works, I'm gonna log out of this bash session and log back in and double check that everything was installed as expected. All right, so I'm back into the server again. I'm just gonna double check that everything was installed as we expected, especially with Go. You really gotta get that Go path thing right. So this is the way to check on that. Excellent, that's exactly what we're hoping for. And then quickly, we will just also check on Node.js. Awesome. If you want to make sure that you have a stable version of Node.js, of course, the script will do that for you, but just something to keep in mind when installing from source. And last but not least, Yarn. Awesome. So that is exactly what we're looking for. So now we're ready to move along to the next step. And if we have a look at our scripts, we're going to run this next one, litd setup 2, and that is going to actually install litd and our configuration file with litd. So of course, we're going to make that executable. Excellent. And again, running that with sudo. All right. Okay, so I've fast forwarded through all of that for you. It takes about 5-10 minutes, depending. So we now have litd installed on this server, and the script is now asking us for some information to add to the configuration file. So first, I'm going to tell it that we're running on Signet because that's what our Bitcoin D backend is running on, Signet. So we'll tell it that. And here, remember that password that we had to promise that we had properly stored somewhere. Now here is where we are going to enter it. So I'm going to go find that. There it is. Again, be careful of copy paste errors, and you can just regenerate this if you run into any trouble. And in the checklist, you'll see how you can do that. Cool. We're going to enter a password for the litd UI if you want to use that. And we can enter an alias for our node. Here, we're just going to go with script testing. All right, cool. So now you can see that script is finished and it's done successfully. That's excellent. We have a couple of things we need to do before we run the final script. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up LITD with this very simple command. And I find it helpful to do this in 2 different terminal windows, makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to start up LITD. And then we're going to do this, right? So what's happened on this machine is we have created a file that has the password for a wallet in it. And this is very handy. So this way LITD can start up when it has to, reboot for some reason at 2 a.m. It can unlock the wallet by itself and get back up and running. So we're going to start LITD here in this terminal window. We're going to come over to this one here. And there we go. We're going to log in. We're going to log in. And then here, we are going to run this so we can have a look at that wallet password. Obviously, this isn't something you normally broadcast to the internet, but I'll show you that's where it is. Then we're going to start LITD up here, but we're going to copy this command because we'll use it in the other window. So we're just going to start LITD here. So we can see LITD is running, but it paused and it says, oh, hey, I need a wallet and I need to be able to unlock that wallet. So we're going to come over here and we're going to run this command. Okay, and so here we are going to note that we're running on Signet. If there's a mismatch with that, you might get like a macaroon error. So we're going to create this wallet and it's going to ask us for that password. Again, be careful of copy paste errors here. Paste that in. I'll do it 2 different ways. I'll do it twice. All right, we're going to create a new seed. We're going to skip this extra encryption here. And ta-da, we have a brand new seed. All right, obviously, of course, you do not broadcast this to the internet, and we need to back this up properly. And of course, pasting it into a doc is definitely not backing it up properly. But when you go through this process, you want to make sure you follow whatever is your backup procedure there. All right, so now LITD is running, and we are going to stop that and then run the 3rd script. Awesome. So we've shut that down gracefully, and we'll come over here and have a look at running this 3rd and final script. So we will make it executable. Well, and then we'll run it like we do all of the others with sudo. See what happens. Awesome. And just like that, we're all set up and running. And what happened in that last script is mostly just that we went in, updated a few things in the configuration file and set up systemd. So this tells us, congrats, your LITD node is now running, but as always, we're going to verify that. Excellent. That's exactly what we would expect. This is great news. All right, so we're going to come here and clear all this out, and I just want to run through and show you some of the configuration files and the systemd files. So you can see that what we've got set up here is we have the Bitcoin D data directory, we have LND, we have LITD, we of course have tapd, we've got all the stuff, and let's have a quick look. We'll go in, and here we see it's there. If you want to do any custom stuff for your Bitcoin backend, you can mess with that file there. Don't forget to restart. Let's come back out here and have a look at our LITD config file. So if you're used to running an LND node and now you're running a LITD node, it might be a little bit confusing. You still have a config file, right? But it got moved here. So let's have a look at that. Awesome, we can see it there, and let's go have a look at what's in that config file. Cool. So I want to note some of this stuff up here, or running in integrated mode in this particular case. And you can see here we have standard LND settings. And when you have this config file that's now running via LITD, we still have our same LND settings, but now we just prefix it with this LND dot, whatever that setting may be. And so you can go and look through these example configuration files in the repo, in the example files. And I just want to note that down here is where we can add all kinds of Taproot asset settings if you'd like to experiment with that. All right, and last but not least, we'll have a quick look at our systemd files. All right, so here is where they are located at systemd/system, and you can see we have our Bitcoin D service file and our LITD service file, and these have already been enabled and started up. And so it's super handy because you do not want to be rebooting nodes at 3 a.m. should something go wrong. All right, so I hope you all found that helpful. Again, this is the repo here, run litd. If you have any comments or questions, drop me a note somewhere or open an issue on the repo, and I'll see you next time.